22 98 98. You can text me on 53981. I want to know, is it bad parenting to raise your child as a vegetarian? After a very interesting a grandmother called Maeve got in touch about her concerns over her grandson's diet, and here is her concern. She says, "Hiya Joan, my grandson is 3 years old and a lovely little fella. My son's partner is a vegetarian, and because of this she has decided to raise their child as vegetarian. Also, the problem is that the child eats nothing but rubbish. I've never seen a meal cooked for him, although I've been over to their home loads of times. He seems to live on a diet of white bread, those cheesy string things, and the odd petit filou and chips. I did ask would she try him on fish, but she says that she can't stand the smell of it in the house. My own son eats meat, but never at home. He eats in work most of the week and just snacks at home." Now Maeve goes on to finish by saying, "How can this be healthy for a child? I swear that I can barely stop from saying something. I'm so annoyed, but my son seems oblivious and his mum doesn't seem to care what he's eaten. In every other way, the great parents," she says. So, should I say something, and is it bad parenting? Well, is it bad parenting if you bring your child up from, what age is 3-year-old? So her 3-year-old grandson has been brought up, I suppose, from scratch as a vegetarian, not a vegan, but a vegetarian, because he does seem to eat cheese, petit filou, chips and white bread. So there you go. Should she say something, and is it bad parenting? What do you think? Bringing a child up as a vegetarian because you are, is that the right thing to do? Do you stick by your guns? 1850 22 98 98. Is it bad parenting to raise your child as a vegetarian? 1850 22 98 98. Give me a call on that or text me on 53981. Jay, you're on 98 FM. How's it going?
Hi, all right.
Very good, thank you. Now you text into the show. What do you think?
Well, my opinion is, it is bad for the child. You're designed to eat meat. So, the child should make its own choice later on in life, not be brainwashed by a parent just because they decide not to eat meat.
Well, I suppose the father eats meat, but the mother obviously feels quite strongly about it, or maybe the father just doesn't care really. Maybe the father doesn't care either way.
Yeah.
But as Maeve said, it's her son's partner is a vegetarian. Because of this, she has decided to raise their child as vegetarian also. Is there anything per se wrong with it if you're giving a child a healthy, nutritious diet, do you think, Jay?
But obviously, it's quite hard to do that. Give them a healthy diet without meat. Most of our, like, protein, fat, etc., it's very hard without meat to have a healthy diet. White bread. You can eat brown bread, and you can eat pulses and nuts and all that kind of stuff. But again, white bread, brown bread, it's all the same. Most of it's junk. Do you know what I mean? It's the same. Like bread, for example, is the same as eating a cereal bar or a chocolate bar. It's all sugar at the end of the day. So that child's just going to grow up not eating meat. Just pumped full of sugar.
How is brown bread, wholemeal brown bread, the same as eating a chocolate bar?
Because it gets broken down into blood glucose, so sugar. So it's exactly the same. If not, it's worse because wheat inflammation, etc. But again, the child, the chances are, if you're not eating meat, you're going to be lacking minerals, vitamins, protein, essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, which is protein. So, in my opinion, the child should have that choice. The mother shouldn't be sort of having that influence over on him.
I suppose. I mean, and Maeve seems like, now I don't know. Perhaps there is something. Maybe Maeve has a side and she is on a certain side. Maybe she's against being a vegetarian, full stop. Now her son isn't a vegetarian, but the daughter obviously is. Well, she's obviously not vegan because she wouldn't be giving him
Cheese, yeah.
She won't be given cheese, obviously, or petit filou and stuff like that. But perhaps what Maeve's problem is that this child just seems to be eating crap rather than, I'm not saying petit filou as a, that they're crap, but I mean white bread, cheese strings, chips and petit filou doesn't seem like a very balanced diet. But a mother who is parents who are bringing their kids up as a vegetarian properly, surely they're getting a healthy diet, no?
No. We're designed to eat meat. We evolved on meat, and if people don't want to eat meat for for personal reasons, like killing animals, etc., then that's their choice. But at the end of the day, we evolved on meat. We didn't evolve on white bread and cereal bars and chips. So we're designed to eat meat. So it's healthy for us.
What about Jay? I mean, we have a huge problem with obesity.
Yeah.
In Ireland, huge problem with childhood obesity as well.
50% of children are obese. Well,
but that's not because they're vegetarian. That's because we probably feed them processed meat like sausages and we don't have a good diet. Full stop. I don't know whether the vegetarian part of it is the problem or just that we eat crap.
No, it'd be if you look over the last 30, 40 years, we've been told to cut fat out of our diets, eat low fat, eat your healthy grains, get your fibre, blah blah blah, and everyone's got fatter. So it's nothing to do with fat. It's more to do that we're eating more sugar, more grains. That's why we're getting fatter, more obese. If you get me. So like if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, then you're obviously going to replace this meat with more sugars and grains. So
okay, so you think it's bad parenting to bring up a child as a vegetarian?
Not even like intentionally. She probably is. Like a lot of people misinformed, think she's doing the right thing. Yeah, don't eat your red meat because you might drop dead. With a heart attack. But at the end of the day, it's like religion. You shouldn't be forced into something at that age. It should be a choice. Later on. So.
Okay. All right. Good talking to you, Jay. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of reaction to that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks a million.
Thanks, Jay. Bye. 1850 22 98 98 or 53981. Jay thinks that we're designed to eat meat and it's bad parenting to raise a child as a vegetarian. This is after a grandmother got in touch. Her name is Maeve. And her grandson is 3 years of age and a lovely little fella. She says her son's partner is a vegetarian. Because of this, she's decided to raise their child as vegetarian also. The crux of the matter is, and this is Maeve's problem, the child eats nothing but rubbish. She said, I've never seen a meal cooked for him, although I've been over to their home loads of times. He seems to live on a diet of white bread, cheese strings, the odd petit filou and chips. I did ask would she try him on fish, but she says she can't stand the smell of it in the house. Now my son eats meat, but never at home. He eats in work most of the week and just snacks at home. She is asking, is this healthy? She said she can barely hold her tongue because she wants to say it to both of them, her son and her daughter-in-law, about their child's diet. She said, should I say something and is it bad parenting? So is it bad parenting to raise your child as a vegetarian? This is a 3-year-old who eats not an awful lot more than white bread, cheese strings, a bit of a petit filou and chips. 1850 22 98 98 is the number. Give me a call on that or text me on 53981. Rita Marie, how are you doing?
How you doing, John? How are you?
Very good, thanks. Do you agree with anything that Jay said?
Absolutely no way. Firstly, we're not designed to eat meat at all. Culture will tell you that we are, like the society will tell you that we're supposed to eat meat or meat and 2 veg and all that. Like just for years in Ireland and agricultural countries, you have to eat your meat. No, I'm 34 years old and I'm a vegetarian since I was 11. And I grew up perfectly healthy diet. I did martial arts for years, perfectly fit, healthy. So I don't eat meat, and we're certainly not designed to eat meat at all. Nowadays, there's a major problem, especially in the last 20 years, because meat is extremely processed, that it's just extremely full of chemicals. So animals are fed on proteins, okay? But these proteins are just for animals. They're not suitable. They're not designed for human consumption.
Right.
So
okay.
when people start to eat meat, they're absorbing these animal proteins, which is absolutely horrific on anyone's diet. I'm completely vegan now. I'm vegan the last 2 years.
How hard is that to do, Rita?
It's not hard at all. It's actually not. I mean, people often ask me that. It must be really difficult. It's not. I mean, back in 1989, at the dark ages, it was very, hard to be vegetarian, never mind vegan. But there's so many options now. I mean, any health shop, even Tesco sells soy butter. Different shops sell soy butter, soy milk and rice milk, and I mean, it tastes the same. It's just there's no animal products in it. I mean, I get my proteins from lentils. I get my omega-3 from walnuts, and that's what's contained in fish. Obviously, I don't eat fish, so I think with the bad parenting thing, I don't think it's nothing to do with a vegetarian diet here. I think it's just a bad diet in general, to be honest. White bread and chips are not the best to be eaten. Meat eaters eat white bread and chips as well.
So. Well, is this then? Yeah, no, I agree with you. Absolutely. But this couple, he obviously eats meat, and he doesn't give a damn, right? The father of this 3-year-old,
right? Yeah.
She's a vegetarian. She's obviously not a vegan because she's given him cheese strings.
Yeah.
This is a 3-year-old who seems to, because of her choices, be eating and because of the father's choice as well, be living on complete rubbish. Now I know kids who are meat eaters also do that, like they eat sausages and rashers but Maeve is obviously very concerned about her 3-year-old grandson and wants to know, should she say something?
I just think maybe should have a chat with it's a bad diet in general. As I said, I don't think it's to do with being a vegetarian. I mean, as you pointed out earlier about sausages and rashers, and I mean McDonald's. I mean, obesity is huge in this country. It's a massive problem.
Yeah. It is huge.
Heart diseases and everything. I mean, it's really, really serious. And people are feeding their kids on chicken nuggets, and I mean, there's ammonia in chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets are made from the carcass of the chicken. And it's like people don't actually know that. If anyone types into YouTube how chicken nuggets are made, I tell you never feed your kids ever again.
Well, I've seen Jamie Oliver doing things with all those chickeny stuff. How do you feed a newborn or a young child walnuts? What I'm saying is, if you're trying to get all of the stuff that you should be giving a child, how do you do that for a very young child who needs loads of iron and protein for their brain and everything, for developing brain?
Well, we're all vegetarians until we start to grow teeth. In general, I mean, everybody's a vegetarian when you're born. You don't eat meat. 1-2-year-olds don't eat meat. They shouldn't anyway. I mean, they could choke to death for a start. I mean, it's just down to education again. I cannot emphasise that word enough. I mean, if anyone's listening to the show tonight thinking about becoming a vegetarian or wanting their kids to become a vegetarian, there's plenty of help out there now. You just have to type into Google. You just go to any health shop, ask for advice. Vegetarian, vegan, there's tons of food.
How was it accepted, Rita Marie, when you became a vegetarian at 11?
My parents weren't keen on the idea at first. Obviously, they probably, felt the same way as that woman as well. Just kind of, you need your meat and you need this and you need that. Or in actual fact, they just respected my beliefs and respected me and just said, okay, well, I think they thought it was a little bit of a phase, maybe, and that I'd grow out of it in 6 months or something. But, it's a 23-year phase.
Okay, let me bring Paul in. Stay with me for a minute.
No problem.
Paul, how are you doing?
How you doing?
What do you think?
I think it's wrong for parents to choose what way a child's going to go.
Do you think the child should decide themselves?
Yes.
What about a 3-year-old, I suppose, who wouldn't know either or? Do you know the kind of way?
Well, you have to get the nutrition, it's going to go through stages. And when they come into adult life, then they can choose their own way of life. And if they want to go that way, then they can have friends that have gone that way, over the years.
You think it's too unfair, just to take meat out of a diet? Well, I suppose, Rita Marie, you were brought up on meat, and then you decided to give it up at 11. So, is it not fairer to let a child choose? Do you think?
I think a 3-year-old just. The parents is heavily influenced, and if they're vegetarians, I mean, I don't have any children myself at the moment, but if I did, I would very much like them to be vegetarians. But because I know exactly what to eat and what to replace, I think the mistake a lot of people make is they don't replace what they're giving up. You know, it's a major, like, just stop eating meat and not replacing it. You have to replace different things, and you have to get your proteins from other sources. You have to get your nutrients from other sources.
How difficult would you say that is to do for a 3-year-old who would need, and I mean, they're growing, so they need an awful lot more than we do, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, the Alpro products, advertising here tonight, the Alpro products really cater for children. I mean, there's beautiful drinks that you can get. There's yogurts, and they're full of calcium, they're full of nutrition, and children really like them, you know. I mean, I've got cousins who are vegans. They're not vegetarians, they're actual vegans.
Right.
And from birth, like, from the time they were born, and they're 19 or 20 now, and they're living normal, healthy lives, you know. So it's just basing everything that you give up. It's just education again, and just, you know, researching foods and where you can get nutrients from. And we are not designed to eat meat. There's absolutely no way we're designed to eat meat.
All right, Rita Marie. Last word, Paul. You think you know, it's just bad. Give children a choice.
Yes, I think children should be given their choice of most of the vitamins when you're a child comes from your meats, and
okay,
their parent should leave it to them
themselves. All right. Okay, Paul, listen, good talking to you, and thanks, Rita Marie. This is what we're talking about. I want your opinions on it. It is a grandmother who's got in contact. She's quite annoyed. Maeve is her name. She has a 3-year-old grandson. She said he's a lovely fella. Her son's partner is a vegetarian. Because of this, she's decided to raise their child as a vegetarian also. Now, obviously, your son, Maeve, because I know you're listening, your son has obviously been heavily involved in this as well, because he hasn't pushed meat on the child. But the problem is, she says, the child eats nothing but rubbish. She's never seen a meal cooked for him, although I've been over to the house loads. He seems to live on a diet of white bread, cheese strings and the odd petit filou and chips. I did ask, would she try him with a bit of fish, but she said she can't stand the smell of it in the house. Her son eats meat. My son eats meat, she says, Joan, but never at home. He eats in work most of the week and just snacks at home. How can this be healthy for a child? I swear that I can barely stop from saying something. I'm so annoyed, but my son seems oblivious and his mum doesn't seem to care. In every other way, they're great parents. So should I say something? And is it bad parenting? Well, your opinion. Is it bad parenting to raise your child, even a child of 3, from a very young age? Is it bad parenting to raise a child as a vegetarian? Jay is saying yes it is. Rita Marie is saying no. Paul is saying yes it is. What do you think? 1850 22 98 98 on this one if you want to get involved, or text me on 53981. Back in a sec.
Of late night talk for Dublin.
The Joan Lee Show on 98 FM.
It's where Dublin comes to talk.
Little monsters unite. The journey continues. Lady Gaga in a brand new show only she can create.
Remember, you were born this way.
The Born This Way ball starring Lady Gaga, Saturday, September 15th at the Aviva Stadium, Dublin, with special guests The Darkness and Lady Starlight. Lady Gaga. Tickets from $54.65 including booking fee, on sale now.
Give it up.
Rate the music at 98fm.com.
98fm.com.
Rate our music.
Tell us what you want to hear.
You rate the music. I love Maroon 5.
David Guetta and Michael Jackson.
I love Train.
Blur, Oasis.
Coldplay and Rihanna song.
Queen.
Jessie J.
Daft Punk.
I like the Killers.
You can log on to 98fm.com and rate the music.
Have a say on what we play and win the latest CDs.
You'll choose Dublin's best music mix.
A bit of everything. It's really kind of nice, summery.
Every day is different.
You rate the music.
On 98FM.
The Joan Lee Show.
Lie back and listen to The Joan Lee Show with a new mattress from Harvey Norman.
98FM.
Hi, and my twins were born in May 11th. They were 3 months premature. Happy and proud to say they're healthy and advanced, according to the doctor. Veggie since day one. They have excellent diets, just like their veggie mam, Kelly. On a personal note, if people had to kill what they eat, there would be a lot more veggies. And their daddy is not a veggie. So we're talking about Maeve, who is, well, she's upset. We're going to talk to Jay. I know Jay is back. Jay wants to clear up something. Jay is back on the line again. But a grandmother got in contact. Her name is Maeve. Her grandson is 3 years old. And she says, he's a lovely little fella. The problem is her son and their partner. Her son eats meat, but the partner doesn't. And the partner has decided to raise their child as vegetarian also. She said she's never seen a meal cooked for the child. The 3-year-old, although she's been over loads of times, he seems to live on a diet of white bread, cheese strings, the odd petit foulou and chips. The grandmother asked would she try him on fish. She said she can't stand the smell of it in the house. The son eats meat, but only at work. How can this be healthy for a 3-year-old? She said she worries about him. She wants to say something. The mum seems oblivious. And the mum doesn't, she said her son seems oblivious and the mum doesn't seem to care. In every other way, they are great parents. Should she say something, and is it bad parenting? So, is it bad parenting to raise your child as a vegetarian? 1850 22 98 98, or text me on 53981. Jay, quickly, what's your point? You're back on.
Hello.
How are you? Go on, Jay.
Yeah. Basically, it was just, you won there, the woman going on about...
Rita Marie.
Yeah. Sorry.
Fine.
She was right with a few things. Processed food, processed meat, whatever. Yeah. Everything's processed. And then she was saying about how we need to replace the things we get out of meat with
lentils and walnuts, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she was on about drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my point is, if we're not raised, if we weren't born to eat meat, then why would we need to replace them things? Well,
because I suppose Fido, or a long time ago, we probably foraged for those kind of things, and our bodies probably knew what we needed, like the way birds do and animals do. They automatically know what they need. So I know
that's what I'm saying.
But that's probably what we did years ago, Jay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We ate meat years ago. So why would we supplement meat now with drinks when we can still eat meat?
Well, probably we might be a bit more advanced. Who knows? But there you go.
But we're getting fatter. So
okay, do
you get my point?
I do get your point. I got to go to news. Vegetarian children, good idea or bad parenting? 1850 22 98 98 or 53981. Back after this. Calls to stop the government introducing the new law where they prosecute the buyers of sex. Because they said it'll send prostitution further underground. Do you agree? Will prosecuting the buyers of sex send prostitution further underground or not? Keith will be here with the papers, taking a look at the headlines we've waken up to in the morning. I'd say James Riley is going to make at least one of the headlines, wouldn't you? And back to, a huge reaction on this, which... I didn't know, so thank you very much to Maeve, a grandmother who got in touch with us. Now, her grandson, here's a scenario, and I want your reaction. 1850 22 98 98. Give me a call on that if you have an opinion, or text me on 53981. Maeve says her grandson is 3 years of age, lovely little fella. Her son's partner is a vegetarian, and because of this, she's decided to raise their child as veggie also. Maeve's the root cause of Main's problem is that the kid eats crap. She said he seems to live on a diet of white bread, cheese strings, and the odd petit foulou and chips. She asked the mother would she try him maybe on fish fingers or something like that, and she said she can't stand the smell of it in the house. Fair enough. Now Maeve said her son eats meat but not at home. He eats in work most of the time and just snacks at home. She said, how can this be healthy for a 3-year-old? There's no meat, white bread, cheese strings, the odd petit foulou and chips. She said she's annoyed at this stage. She said she's so annoyed. She said my son seems oblivious and his mum doesn't seem to care. In every other way they're great parents. So she's not blaming the mother and not blaming her own son. She said there's a pair of them in it, but should she say something, and is it bad parenting? So is it bad parenting to raise a very young child as a vegetarian? If you want to get in on this, 1850 22 98 98, or text me on 53981 if you have an opinion. And my other half, by the way, Dale is he's, what does he call himself, Episcopalian. He eats fish, but he doesn't eat meat, and he's been that way now, I suppose, about it must be about 10 years. And I will give the kids aren't great meat. My kids aren't great meat eaters anyway, but they do eat fish, purely because Dale would eat fish morning, noon and night. But however, they do eat fish, and they eat the odd bit of red meat. But is it bad parenting to raise your child completely as a vegetarian from a very young age and not let them choose themselves? 1850 22 98 98, or text me at 53981. Tara, thank you very much for waiting. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm grand, thanks.
Good. What do you think?
Well, I've been a vegetarian since I was 12, so that's nearly 19 years.
12 seems to be, because I think Rita Marie, she was 11. It seemed 11 and 12 seemed to be big.
In my case, that was imposed by my parents. I had wanted to become a vegetarian much younger.
All right.
They wouldn't let me. So they'd always say, right, once you're 12, you can decide for yourself.
And at 12 you said, and did you hate meat?
I did. For me, I just hate the idea of eating the cow and the feed. It's because of the animals, rather than
the taste.
I just really didn't like. Yeah, and I don't go around preaching to anybody else or anything. My partner eats meat. I'll cook it for him. And
will you?
Me. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's my own choice. I disagree with the whole thing about eating meat and how they're reared and everything. But I'm not going to enforce my view onto anybody else.
Yeah, because my partner would cook meat as well, and he knew. I mean, he'd be the first one to jump up and cook a Sunday roast. Do you know what I mean? Now, obviously, with the two kids, there would be no point in doing a roast unless I had loads of people over my house, because the kids won't eat it. Do you know what I mean?
Eat the meat.
They won't. No, they might eat the gravy, but they won't eat the meat. But you are one of the few people who I know who's veggie, who will cook meat. So it's just it's something that you kind of completely hold for yourself. What about Tara? What about a 3-year-old whose grandmother feels? And I'd say Maeve sounds like a young enough grandmother who she said that he's 3 years of age and he eats white bread and crap basically, and she's worried about him.
To that to me sounds like the problem is nothing to do with being vegetarian. It's to do with that's a really bad diet and bad education on the mother's part. Maybe that's what she was reared on. You just grab cheese strings from the fridge, there you go. That's down to both the parents. I think the vegetarian issue has nothing to do with that. It's just really bad education and bad parenting.
I wonder, would this 3-year-old have a better chance? And I'm speaking from I don't know, but my gut instinct, if you pardon the pun, would lead me to believe that he may have a better chance at a slightly more vitamins if he was eating meat, even if he was having a crappy diet. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Well, most people, though, as I think someone mentioned earlier, the meat that they do feed kids is really, really processed. Sausages, rashers, ham. It's all processed meat, which is actually just putting more rubbish and stuff into them. More fat, sugar, salts. It's crazy. There was something on telly once the other week showing you what goes into just ham that you think is just one healthy thing, and it's not.
Like a slice of ham, you mean? Like sliced ham? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, that you can make a sandwich with.
All right.
That it's all completely full of all this different stuff, and it's a whole text. And sorry,
you're right.
That there's all this different stuff goes into it, all these different processes with chemicals. It's horrible to look at it.
Yeah.
But I think in the case of that child, though, it really is about bad diet. If somebody wants to be a vegetarian and wants to raise their kid as vegetarians, they can give their kids a complete, full, healthy diet if that's what they want.
And if you were, do you have kids yourself, Tara?
No,
I don't. If you did have children, would you raise them as? Are you vegan, by the way, or just veg?
No, I'm just vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
Proper vegetarian.
Would you raise children as vegetarian?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it until tonight.
You're being very honest. You're being really honest. And your partner, do you think he would? Because he's a meat eater. It's a difficult one. I mean, look, sure, I don't have rows, but sometimes I get a bit peeved because I wish we could all have the one dinner. Do you know the kind? No, we do. We eat fish and we do eat veg. We eat a lot of veggie meals, but sometimes I just wish that.
Funny enough, my partner, he'll eat kind of anything, and he'll eat corn. Originally at the start, I would make 2 spaghetti bologneses, one with meat and one with corn. Yeah. And then he said, "Well, actually, I like your one better."
It is nice, actually. Yeah, we make chili and all with that. It's very nice.
Yeah,
it is very nice.
So a lot of the time, he's maybe it's easy. He's not that big into meat, so it doesn't bother him. I don't know. I don't think I would set out a mission statement like I'm raising my child as vegetarian. Because I think that comes into it for vegetarians a lot. Seems to be kind of on a soapbox, preaching to everybody else.
And you don't think that's the right thing to do either? Do you think the grandmother should have a word and just say, "Look, you're feeding your kids crap"?
Yeah.
You do?
I do. I think
not to do from
show them, or even just subtly kind of show her other quick things. Because maybe this poor mum is completely harassed, doesn't realise how quickly she can make something healthy and nice that the kids might like.
Perhaps so, yeah.
But you'd have to do it gently, not to, be the evil mother-in-law going in.
Absolutely. All right, Tara, good talking to you.
All right.
Thanks a million. Thank you. Bye. 53981, the text number. Or you can give me a call, 1850 22 98 98. Is it bad parenting to raise your child as a vegetarian, as Maeve thinks her son and his partner are? The partner is a vegetarian, the 3-year-old, she said, eats nothing but rubbish. She's saying white bread, cheese strings, the odd petit filou and chips. The son still eats meat, but he eats it when he's outside the house. So in other words, he eats his meals at home and only snacks. She said, how can this be healthy for a child? She said, should I say something, and is it bad parenting? Well, what do you think, John? You're welcome to the show.
Hey, John, thanks. I've been listening. It's an interesting one this evening, for sure.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I tell you, first of all, Maeve needs to get with the times. We're not living in the 17 or 1800s anymore. Being vegetarian these days, in my opinion, is as simple as choosing like a different aisle in the grocery store. And I think the real problem here is that she just doesn't know very much about the issue. But the fact about it is that we as a nation, as Rita Marie has just been saying, is that we're a nation of obese. We're obese now because of our reliance on animal products, and as a result, we're paying a deadly price as a result of eating animal products, because animal products they're loaded with cholesterol, they're loaded with high blood pressure. And we're suffering from many health diseases such as cancer, stroke, high blood pressure, cholesterol, as a result of eating animal products. So, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to offer Maeve and her family a free dinner, a free evening out, and we'll happily pay the bill, and we'll send her a bumper full of exciting, healthy vegetarian options and products, and we'll help her along the way. But she needs to know that the vegetarian diet is by far the most healthiest diet that anyone can get their children off.
John, but I think what Maeve's problem is, I don't think per se that she's against vegetarianism. I think she may be the only vegetarian she knows, who is her son's partner, is feeding the child rubbish. Do you know? I think that's what the problem is.
You're right, and that's another problem. And look, I deal with a lot of people who contact us about going vegetarian and vegan almost every day of the bloody week, and a lot of them say the very same thing. I think a lot of the problem here is that you just don't know where to start. But the one thing she needs to know is that the parents are setting their child off on a good note for the rest of their life. Their children.
John, your line has gone. Your line has gone very peculiar. Just move there for a second, and we see
Yeah.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, look, the parents need to know that the child is being set off on a good foot. The child is going to have very little high blood pressure, lower cholesterol. They're going to be slimmer. They're going to be happier, healthy children. And that's what we've seen.
You said, that diet, that we are, we're meat eaters, we're carnivorous, we're designed to eat meat, and that child cannot be getting amino acids and all of the stuff that kids need for growing.
Well, again, look, we had a big march and rally against cruelty to animals last Sunday. We had hundreds and hundreds of people out, and a lot of our supporters brought their children along, and these were children from 2 years up. There was even some children, and they were literally babies, and they were all vegetarians. And by God, these children, they were full of energy, they were full of vitality, they were really, really happy, healthy, and they were slim children. Like I said, the offer is there. If they want to leave their details with yourselves, we'll happily invite them out for dinner. We'll show them what a real vegetarian diet is, and we'll help them along the way, but they just need to get it right. Are
you vegan, John? You are?
I absolutely am, John.
And what would be, what kind of stuff do you eat? What kind of meals would you have? Just to let people know who haven't embraced it, I suppose.
Good question. Well, look, the thing here is that everything that I suppose a meat eater eats can be replaced with a humane option. If you're eating chicken, if you're eating beef, if you're eating pork, you can get a replacement for all of that. But outside of even that, you don't even need to rely on fake meats, because there's so much, wonderful stir fries out there, pastas, vegetables, and these are all loaded with nutrients and everything that's good for you. And you'll find you're healthier, and more than anything else, you can look at yourself in the mirror when you get up in the morning too, because you know that you're helping your health, you're giving the planet a chance, and more than anything else, you're taking the pedal off of animal suffering on factory farms and in slaughterhouses. because as the man says, if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be a vegetarian. But going back to Maeve's question there again, we would definitely be we'd be up for making sure that her mindset of thinking her grandchild is going to suffer from a vegetarian diet, which is nonsense. We're here to help, and we'd definitely be up for bringing her out for dinner some evening, and the bill is going to be on ourselves here for sure.
All right, John, good talking to you. Thanks a million.
Thanks, James.
Thank you. But you're all right. Bye. Okay, Maeve's problem. Maeve has been poo-pooed by all the vegetarians. She's saying, don't be worrying about her grandson who is 3. Don't be worrying about what he's eating. The mother, Maeve said, is feeding him rubbish. He's 3 years of age. All Maeve has ever seen the vegetarian mother feed the child is white bread, cheese strings, the odd petit filou and chips. Her son is not a veggie, but he doesn't eat meat in the house. He eats it at work during the week if he eats it all. She said, how is this healthy for a child? She said she can barely bite her tongue because she is so annoyed at this child on the vegetarian diet. She said, should I say something? Is it bad parenting? So is it bad parenting to raise your child as a strictly vegetarian? Is it stopping all that kind of nutrition, all that goodness that they need when a child is growing? 1850 22 98 98 or text me on 5 3 98 1. Just before we get to Anto, Marie says, feeding children meat is already forcing a choice on them. Everything is a choice. Once children eat meat, they become addicted to the taste. I don't know about that, do they? Janie Mac can hardly get it into my kids. My 18-year-old son has been a vegetarian all of his life. He's never been sick a day in his life, yet my relatives who feed their kids meat are sick all the time. Meat is toxic. Vegetable diet is pure. Does it have to be all one or all the other, though, Marie? You know, never been sick one day and meat eaters are. I don't know. Dean said, another question, is it bad parenting to raise your child as a meat eater? I figure once all supplements are are supplied for being a veggie, it's best for a child till they can make up their own mind, says Dean. Michael says, it's your responsibility as a parent to raise your child on a diet that is beneficial to the child. Doesn't matter if it's veg or meat, it has to be a good diet, and this doesn't sound like a good diet. Grandmother should definitely say something, says Michael. Anto, you're on 98 FM. How's it going?
How are you getting on?
I'm very good, thanks. Now, what do you think?
Well, I sent you a text earlier on, and I stand by it. If everybody had to kill what they have to eat, there'd be a hell of a lot more vegetarians. And saying that, no, I'm not a vegetarian, but my twins are, and their mother is. Ah,
very good, very good. Now, your twins are what age?
They're May 11, as I said. So
you're May 11, okay. Yeah. So, wow, so what, May, June, July, August, September, 4 months old?
No, 5th, May 11. We're in 12 now, aren't we? Oh no, May 10. Sorry.
May 10. So they're 2 and a bit.
Yeah.
And
15 months, May 11. I was right. They're not 4 months.
Sorry, Janie Mac. We'll be here to try to work out the age of your twins. Till 12 o'clock. All right, they're what? They're 15 months.
Yeah.
Now we have it. Okay, so they went. They've moved on from milk. They obviously have their milk as well, but. Okay, the interesting bit for me, first of all, before you talk about your kids, was your wife a veggie when you met her?
Yeah, she's a vegetarian since she's about 10 years of age.
Okay, but
her mother was a vegetarian as well.
Oh, right, okay. And are you a big meat eater? No.
Me, yeah, I eat meat like everybody else. Just like, and to be quite honest, you know, at first I had me concerns and reservations as a father, as any parent would. And I asked the paediatrician in the Kilm Hospital, is it okay for the kids to be vegetarians? And he explained that as long as they're getting their nutrients and they're getting the appropriate iron supplements, and he gave some of the vegetables like spinach and some of the vegetables they said earlier on. The girl was very educated when she spoke earlier. And my wife is up to, she was able to tell the doctor nearly what she would give the kids. And to be honest, the kids now, they're advanced, they're 15 months, they were born 3 months premature, against all the odds, 29 weeks really, or a moment, and here they are now, 15 months, big and strong and advanced. And
so what kind of what kind of grub does your wife or your partner spend a load of time preparing food? What kind of stuff do they?
No, like, to be honest, even in the local super values or local shops, you have Ella's Kitchen, 100% organic. You get all the fruits, 100% vegetables, mixed vegetables. Everything is there now. It's actually more expensive to eat healthier, and it's actually healthier, believe it or not. And you know, as I said, like I speak to my wife about this. Maybe if I wasn't programmed to eat meat, because that's what I think we all are at the end of the day.
Right.
I wouldn't eat it. You know, like, I stop at Burger King like the rest and have a chicken royale or whatever it may be.
And come here to me, do you eat, because obviously according to Maeve, her son eats meat as well. I mean, I'm a meat eater, right, and my husband doesn't eat meat, and look, there's no hassle at all. He eats fish now, and I have to say sometimes I have to go, just please no more fish. My house is stinking from eating fish. But I have no problem with it. Do you eat meat at home?
Yes, of course. See, I don't want to come across like a fella that's absolutely whipped. I'm not. No,
I know you're not. But who do you cook?
I'm not one of those lads that'll go along and just go with the flow. I didn't go with the flow. I asked the doctor, "Is this okay?" Okay.
Well, what about okay? Who cooks the meat in your house? And you do? Do you?
Well, I'm not the cook in the house. You know.
So she'll cook. She'll do it, will she?
She'll cook for me. What she does is she cuts the meat and she makes sure that it's cooked in the middle. You know, she comes to me and says, "Taste it." You know, and she hates it. She hates it, but she does it for me because she knows that's the way I am. You know, I wish I could change. I can't. I'm 30 odd years of age. I'm not going to change now. I wish I could, to be quite honest.
And tell me, are you happy that your twins will probably never eat meat?
Yes, when we're driving down through the country and you see the little spring lambs coming up, the little baby lambs, my wife goes, "How can you eat that?" I said, "If it looked like that in the flight, I wouldn't eat it."
Oh, Jesus.
And the little lambs are bouncing there, I wouldn't eat it. And she's right. Like, I'd be going through the Slane Valley and I'd be looking at the Slane Valley lamb, and you know, I don't look at that and think, "Wow, that'll be nice on me plate." Yeah, it just comes out nice.
No, you know? I know, I do know. And I have to say, and for all vegetarians, I'm very sorry. I cooked lamb on Friday. I'd relatives over from Australia, so what I think, yeah, lamb, of course, you know, it's like...
I don't think you have to be sorry for the vegetarians. I think that they're cleverer than
well, of course they are, but I have to say, I'm a bit queer, Anto, when it comes to lamb, because I think it tastes like something, if you get me drift.
Well, it tastes like lamb. It depends what way you cook it.
No, you know what I mean, though. It's a bit strong or something. There's something a bit... Ooh.
The fact of the matter is, there was a chap saying there that if we have to supplement the meat, why should we supplement it? It's obviously normal to eat it. And you did come across and sounded, look, at the end of the day, this was ancient times. People had to go down and eat what they could.
Yeah.
You can actually go to the chemist now and get shakes and live on protein diets and be proven to be healthier and get all the proteins. At the end of the day, if anybody's programmed or brainwashed these days, it's the people that are going around stopping at McDonald's and Burger King on the M50s or the motorways or wherever. Every convenient place you see.
Actually, look, it is fast food, and then you forget you've eaten.
Can you just imagine if everything was organic and everything was healthy? We'd have a HSE bill and maybe a fella not getting sacked tomorrow, Mr. O'Reilly. What do you think?
Well, there you go. Imagine now. Here's a thought. Here's a thought to go to bed with, Anto. Imagine if all the fast food. I'm talking about even like baguettes, sausage rolls, breakfast rolls.
We'd go mad.
No,
but
imagine we would be ravenous if every pizza place, fish and chips, burger place was closed down and there was no more fast food. Can you imagine how skinny we'd all be?
Listen, that chap just on the radio there, and he came across like better for the planet and so on and so forth. I'm not one of those lads. I can't be one of those lads. It's just not in my nature. I'm too selfish. But to be quite honest, when I look at my wife and I look at the chance she's given my twins, I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. And I think, you know, if people think that they're not getting a choice, that's absolutely ridiculous. They'll be big and bold enough to make their own decisions when they get older. At the end of the day, they're getting shown the right path as far as I'm concerned. And if every parent could cut out the nonsense of McDonald's and Burger King and all the greasy fast food heart attacks waiting for to happen for their kids, I think we'd have a better nation of people. What do you think?
Tell me this, Anto. Does she make you brush your teeth before you give her a kiss?
Absolutely, like every woman.
All right, Anto, good talking to you. Congratulations on the twins, by the way. I'd say that was some shock, was it?
Absolutely, it was unbelievable. I'm still in shock.
See you, Anto. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, on a serious note, we're talking about Maeve has got in touch about her grandson, her 3-year-old grandson, who is, by the choice of the mother, raised as a vegetarian, although she said his diet is rubbish. He eats white bread, cheese strings, petit falou and chips. She wants to say something because she feels the child is losing out on vital nutrients, and she's very annoyed. Her son, she said, seems oblivious, so her son's is guilty, although he eats meat but not at home. Should she say something, and is it bad parenting to raise your child as a vegetarian? 1850 22 98 98 or 53 98 1. You're so irate about it. This has got the biggest reaction of everything we've done put together tonight. Sharon, how are you doing?
Hi Joan, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for hanging on.
No worries.
Now, what do you think?
Well, I'm a vegetarian since I was 16. I'm now 37, and I've two daughters who aren't vegetarian.
Right.
Again, I'm like Tara in that view, in that it's my decision, but I wouldn't put my decision on everyone else.
Okay.
But I feel sorry for that Granny Maeve, and I just thought of a few suggestions just for a 3-year-old. I mean, they're not going to be into cooking tofu and marinating and all that sort of thing.
Right.
But I thought maybe vegetable fingers you can get, which are like fish fingers. Again, they'd be getting the vegetables that way.
All right.
Eggs have all the amino acids you'll need, plus some iron. And baked beans, again, great for all your vitamins and your B vitamins. And if you could incorporate maybe, like, mixing up a few vegetables with some tomato sauce and putting it on some pasta with a bit of grated cheese. Again, it's very simple things for a 3-year-old. And you don't want to make it too, difficult for a 3-year-old to eat.
Absolutely not. What age were you when you became a vegetarian again?
I was 16, and again, I had to wait until I was 16 for my parents. But I didn't like meat. But we were quite poor. It was the last recession, like a long time ago, and we would have the cheapest of the cheap meat, and I just couldn't bear it.
And oh God, oh yeah, no, I know, I do know, I know. And
those cheap burgers and horrible pork chops and all that.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you were saying about being guilty about eating lamb. I remember going to a farm at about 7, and a lamb suckling off my finger, and I thought, oh God, I cannot eat another lamb, and I never did since then.
Lambs are it's very borderline, isn't it? And I just thought,
But now as a vegetarian, I mean, if you said to me, I'm going to eat your kitten, it would be the same to me as eating a lamb or a cow. If you just went across the line, there's no difference to me now.
Absolutely, no, absolutely, I know. And so, were you? You brought your kids up eating meat. How hard was that for you to cook meat for your? Was it an act of love? Was it a selfless thing that you did? Do you think?
It didn't bother me at all, because I always grew up having to cook meat. Like at home, you'd have to cook it. If my mum was out and we'd students and stuff, and I just always did it. I did home economics. We had to cook it for that. It was just I never stopped cooking it. I just didn't eat it.
And do you feel? Are you? Do you think are there any of your kids going to go off meat? Do you think? Or?
Yes, actually, the eldest one. Recently, we were having a conversation about what do you like to have for breakfast. What's your favourite ultimate breakfast? I said, she said I'd have mushroom, scrambled egg, and a tomato, and some maybe French toast. And I said, no sausages, no.
No bacon,
mushrooms, no. White pudding, no. So she's kind of heading my way.
Wow. And do you think it's a taste thing as well? Do you think you're, just you're either going to be that way or not, or do you think it's just
possibly? Yeah, and I never really liked the texture of it. I just can't bear it. And I actually tried to go back on tuna at one stage just to try and get a bit of protein as a teenager, because I wasn't eating a very balanced diet, and I just couldn't bear the texture of it. It's just weird. And actually I'm allergic to corn as well.
Are you?
I get severely sick, and I actually googled it. It's apparently lots of people are very allergic to it, and you wouldn't know. It's actually a fungus.
It's a mushroom fungus, isn't it?
It's not even a mushroom, it's an actual fungus.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's when I looked that up, I mean, I'd eaten it about 4 or 5 times. I thought, well, that must have been old corn that was in the freezer for months. Then I bought it fresh, and I was sick again. I suddenly put 2 and 2 together and realised that I'm really allergic to it violently. I'd be sick for the night.
Oh, good
Lord. It's like food poisoning to me, yeah.
Oh, wow. So just doesn't great. So you're saying, should the grandmother say something? She should.
I think she should, but she should be armed with a few suggestions.
Okay.
Like maybe have the veggie fingers and the beans under her arm and say, how do you feel about eggs? And maybe cook them an omelette or something.
Would you eat eggs, Sharon?
I would.
You
would,
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
As I say, nothing with the face.
Nothing with the face. All right. Okay, Sharon. Good talking to you.
You.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. 53981 at this stage, or if you want to get in on this, is it bad parenting to raise your child as a vegetarian? 1850 22 98 98 or 53981, the text number. Robin, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Now, what do you think about this? Maeve is very concerned about her 3-year-old grandson.
Yeah, I have to say that the diet that he's eating doesn't sound healthy at all, and I think the point is that the thing is that one of the perks of being human is that we're so uniquely adaptable. Like, we can get by on so many different foods, and it's completely unscientific to suggest that we're carnivores, because we're not. We're omnivores, which means that we can eat basically everything, and that means out of all those options, you can cobble something together, whether that includes meat or not, that is perfectly healthy. But of course, if your diet only consists of those really fatty, really sugary foods like the grandson is eating right now, even though that doesn't include meat, it can still be incredibly unhealthy. So you just need to be smart and really think about what nutrients do I need and what foods can I get those from. And because there's this wide range of options available, what it comes down to in the end really is ethics. Are we okay with taking a life in order to put something on our plate with nutrients in it that we could also get in a non-violent way? So that's really my point.
I suppose there was when I was driving up from the country, so it would have been last Monday week, and there was a report on the news saying that one of the doctors over in Switzerland was saying that because of the amount of water and the food that it takes to rear cattle and sheep and all that for food, that we're actually running out of the wherewithal to produce as much food, and we have so much waste with meat as well. There's so much thrown out that we can't keep consuming the amount that we're consuming. Apparently we're consuming a huge amount of meat.
Yes, it's an incredibly wasteful dish to eat meat. I mean, I don't want to be preaching. I mean, I'm vegan myself, but I will absolutely acknowledge that theoretically it is absolutely, I think meat per se isn't unhealthy. Meat won't kill you. It is perfectly healthy to have, it's perfectly possible to have a healthy diet that does include meat, but that's of course only the health aspect of it. As you mentioned just there, it is very wasteful in terms of the water and the energy needed to produce it. You need, in terms of the farmland, you only need the farmland for the cattle, but obviously also the farmland to grow the food for the cattle.
Yeah, you put it so much better than I did. Tell me, when did you become vegan? Were you always that way? Were you vegetarian? What way were you fed when you were growing up?
Yeah, I'm actually a pretty recent arrival. Like, I've been fed meat for my entire childhood. I'm 27 now, and I've been eating meat for 22 years, and I've been vegetarian for 4, and now vegan for just over a year.
Okay,
and it just never felt better in my life.
Really, and so what do you? I suppose, and I know people are saying, "Look, I eat everything." Is it difficult to kind of be satisfied when you're on a completely vegan diet?
The only problem really is when you're eating out somewhere and you don't know whether they're actually catering for vegans, because we're very small, but fortunately an ever-increasing portion of the population. So if you just go to a random restaurant, you might find that they actually might not even know what a vegan is, or if 9 out of 10 times you get lucky and they actually can whip you something up. But that's really just eating out. As long as you prepare your food for yourself, there is no problem whatsoever. And as far as meat supplements go, like, I hardly eat any replacement meats. I hardly eat any tofu or corn or all of that other stuff that's on the market. I mostly just eat vegetables, fruits, pasta, rice, potatoes. And there's the thing is that this is something I realized myself, because I've been brought up on a meat-heavy diet. If you're so focused on meat as the main dish and everything else, all the vegetables just as a supplement, just as a side dish, you really blind yourself to a world of possibilities. There are for all sorts of different foods you can prepare for yourself. Like right now, I actually eat more diverse and better and healthier than I've ever eaten before, even though I don't eat animal products, which might seem paradoxical, but it's true.
No, it's very good. Okay, Robin, good talking to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks a million. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to leave it there. You can still text in at 53981. What should Maeve do? She's, I suppose, upset about her grandson, who's a vegetarian, being brought up as a vegetarian, but she thinks he just eats crap white bread. What was it? White bread, cheese strings, the odd petit filou and chips. There you go. Going to take a quick break. Quick breather. Back after this.
It's late.
It's live.
It's the new home of late night talk for Dublin.
The Joan Lee Show on 98 FM. 98 FM.
Who the hell are you?
This could be you.
Kathy Brady from Raheny. You've just won €10,000. You won. station, Kathy?
Dublin's 98 FM.
It's 98 FM Celebrities Stuck for Words. Guess correctly and win €10,000.
Play 98 FM Celebrity Stuck for Words weekdays at 7, 11, 1, 3 and 5.
Right now, someone in Ireland needs you. You've never met this person, but they're one of your blood buddies. People who share exactly the same blood type as you. And should you ever need blood, your blood buddies will be there for you. Could they say the same about you? If you've got it in you to become a blood buddy, visit our Delir Street clinic. See giveblood.ie for opening times or call 01 474 5000 to book an appointment. Because we need all the blood buddies we can get.
Little monsters unite! The journey continues. Lady Gaga in a brand new show only she can create.
Remember, you were born this
The Born This Way ball starring Lady Gaga, Saturday, September 15th at the Aviva Stadium, Dublin, with special guests The Darkness and Lady Starlight. Lady Gaga. Tickets from $54.65 including booking fee, on sale now.
The Joan Lee Show.
Lie back and listen to The Joan Lee Show with a new mattress from Harvey Norman.
98 FM.
Very good. And Kate's going to be in a couple of minutes doing the papers, the headlines we'll be wanking up to tomorrow night. Just some of your texts. That woman has no right to interfere with her grandchild's diet anyway. She should mind her own business. It's your responsibility as a parent to raise your child on a diet that is beneficial to your child. Doesn't matter if it's veg or meat, it has to be a good diet, and this doesn't sound like a good diet. Grandmother should definitely say something, says Michael. Another question. Oh yeah, we'd read that one. The problem with not eating meat is people don't replace the vitamins, protein, fat, minerals that we get from it. It doesn't make sense to try and replace this with supplements. Just eat meat. Simple. Being vegetarian isn't healthier. All vegetables are carbs. The only way vegetarians get protein or iron is through supplements. And if meat is so awful, why do they make fake meat like corn in even Kildare? And Ger says very simply, it's bad parenting to let the children eat unhealthily. All right, thank you very much for all your calls and your texts on that.